You know, when Tom Jones calls you and says he wants to get something off his chest, you let him do it. And we did. We did that yesterday. Now he wants to be on again. And we're going to do it. We're going to do it again today because it's always great to have my former radio partner, longtime columnist of the Tampa Bay Times, and now with the Poynter Institute of Media Studies, Tom Jones, back to back and better than ever, going to join us here in just a second to talk a whole bunch of things, including the Buccaneers and the NFL. But first, go see our friends, please, at Breitling Boutique. We've been telling you about this place, man. You want to talk about a store to get the best timepiece you've ever owned. The Breitling Company has been in business for over 150 years. They've been at Breitling Boutique in International Plaza Mall for more than 5 years. Now, you want to go to the mall, go to the center there, and go upstairs. That's where you're going to find the customer service that is second to none. Trust me on this. And they've got men's watches, the chronomats, the Navitimers, women's watches. These are sports watches. They're beautiful. They are durable, and you're going to love them. And while supplies last, and that's the key, Breitling Boutique is celebrating the NFL's 104th year anniversary with all 32 team watches. I was in Breitling a little while ago. They still had a watch for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm telling you, these things are collector's items. You have to take a look at it to believe it. It is Breitling Boutique, International Plaza Mall. When you go there, make sure you let them know that you heard about it right here on Sports Day Tampa Bay. Back to back and better than ever, Tom Jones of the Poynter Institute of Media Studies, my former radio partner, longtime columnist, Tampa Bay Times, joined us 2 days in a row, Tommy. I can hardly take the excitement by request, man. So many people I run into out and about, covering the Bucs, always talk about wanting you on this podcast, needing you on this podcast. They remember the radio show. So it's great to have you 2 days in a row. And so we'll start there. But
thanks, I appreciate it. And I'm not, since we're like patting each other on the back.
I'll turn around.
The podcast is great, man. Like, you're a star without me.
It's okay.
Although I missed do you ever wake up? I don't know what time you get up in the morning. I get up late.
Tom, since we did morning radio, I've been waking up at 3:45 every day.
Are you serious?
And we haven't done it for about a decade, it seems. So yeah, it's sad but true. Of course, now I have to go to the restroom, so it's convenient.
Yeah. But you used to get up at 3:45 for our 6 o'clock show. I used to get up at 4.
Yeah.
And every now and then, I'm a huge night owl now, and I sleep because just my schedule. I usually work from like 10:30 or 11 till about 7 or 8 at night, because that's when a lot of media stuff's going on. I'm writing my newsletter for the next day. But there's some nights where I'll stay up, really late till like 1:30 or 2, sometimes later. And I'll look and I'll say, man, in the old days, we used to get up, me, you, and Steve, we'd get up at like
an hour or two later.
An hour from now.
Yeah.
And be on the road, driving
all the way to Gandy Boulevard. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
now everything's changed.
You don't realize this, Rick, and Tom. Next week, it was 8 years ago we started this podcast.
The podcast.
8 years ago. Wow. Yep.
So I did the podcast for the first
6 months or so.
6 months, yeah. And then I left for Poynter right after that.
Yep. But yeah, next week is 8 years ago we started it. So we've been over 2,000 shows.
That's longer than we did the radio show.
Oh, a lot
more
longer,
shows than we did on radio.
2,000 shows, yeah.
Jeez, oh man.
I know. It's crazy. There's an audience out there, man, and we thank each and every one of them. I can't tell you how many people come up to me wherever I'm at, listen to the podcast, love the podcast, and they always end with this: when are you going to have Tom on again?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Then they go, I loved you guys on radio.
People out there that want to pay us to do a podcast, and
I floated this one day on the interweb. I said, how many of you would like maybe to see us, on YouTube or something?
We'll do like a McAfee or Pardon My Take. Whatever.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think I've already branded one of the segments, which is Tom Bast instead of Bombast.
Well, I have a name for the show, but I can't say it on the air.
Oh, really?
Well, you and I have talked about it.
Oh, yeah. Don't say that.
It's Rick and Tom.
Yeah.
Except there's another word instead of Rick. So anyway,
it rhymes with Rick for sure. And I'm happy to play that role.
Talked to you since the Bucs game on Sunday.
No, what'd you think of the Buccaneers?
Well, I want to get more what you thought, but it was one of those games that I tell you what, Rick, I was thinking about this the other day. There is watching Baker Mayfield is so much fun because there will be moments in a game where you're like, what's he looking at? Why did he throw that? Like, how did he miss that guy?
Right.
But I'm telling you, you get to the fourth quarter, man. That guy's as good a quarterback in the fourth quarter as there is, it seems like, these days.
He's really good. He's exceptional when it's chaotic. And, so much of the NFL comes down to the final 2 minutes in games anyway, because there's not a big difference between teams, believe it or not. But the more chaos is out there, I think the better he plays. Whether it's he focuses more or in a 2-minute situation, too, a lot of quarterbacks say, well, you know what you're going to get in coverage, right? They're not going to be that multiple because they're trying to slow you down, not let you get a big chunk play. You get certain coverages, right? You're trying to get easy completions to start the drive. If they're in man, they're going to have their backs to you. You can, run for a few yards and do those things. He's just so good in the 2-minute, and we've seen him do it many, many times, bring them back down the field. The one thing I think there's a couple things that I want to get your opinion on it too, is it's like some of the throws this guy made, I had no idea that his arm was that strong. Like for a guy that's only scraping barely 6'1", he can flat out, he's got a hose, man. He's got a cannon.
Absolutely. And that's, I thought that the touchdown, the winning touchdown pass.
Oh God.
The other night.
Yeah.
Was a great example. I mean, he had somebody like pretty much in his face.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he let it rip.
Oh man.
And it wasn't, and what's his name was open, but not that open.
No.
Like it was, but I mean, it
was good coverage actually. Yeah.
Yeah. But in the NFL, that's really he was open.
Mm-hmm.
But Baker certainly just ripped it. That's the thing that impressed me. I'm so fascinated by quarterbacks in the NFL these days, Rick, where you see some guys like Sam Darnold had that resurrection in Minnesota. Now we'll see how he does.
No, he's in Seattle. Yeah.
In Seattle, not off to a great start there. Who knows? I mean, Daniel Jones just might have had the game of his life, but
or he could be the next guy.
Yeah. If he showed up. And then Baker, I thought Baker was much better in Cleveland than Sam Darnold ever was in New York.
That's
true.
And
much better than Daniel Jones ever was in New York.
That's true as well. Yeah.
But to watch him now, I mean, to think about how he went from Cleveland, and I still think that year he tried to gut through that injury was probably the worst thing he could have done. But you can't blame him for trying to play through it. But then he goes on, plays for 2 other teams before he ends up in Tampa Bay, and now you look at him, and Rick, like borderline top 10 quarterback.
Oh, I think we see all these preseason rankings and things, and just by virtue of the 2 years he's had, more touchdowns. If I had told you who has the most touchdowns the last 2 years in the NFL passes, it's Baker Mayfield.
I would name Josh Allen.
Mahomes, maybe, yeah.
Justin Herbert. I would name I would probably name like 8 or 9 guys before he got to
maybe Joe Burrow, right?
Joe Burrow, absolutely.
Lamar Jackson. I mean,
yes.
Yeah, it's Baker Mayfield. And that's that's all you need to know. I mean, he has lit it up and not just in yards and touchdowns, but also completion percentage. Hell, he was over 71 point something last year. And guys follow him. And I think with Atlanta, who look, I think this Michael Penix Jr. from Dade City and went to Tampa Bay Tech is going to be an outstanding quarterback. I really do. I know that in that draft, Bruce Arians, who was kind of consulting at the time, thought he was the best guy in the draft because of his ability to throw the ball down the field in tight windows. Of course, Bruce, no risk it, no biscuit for him, and had been through some stuff, But Atlanta as a program, as a team, and I don't know how long Raheem will be able to survive it, but they're not quite where the Bucs are. I mean, the Bucs still have guys left over from the Super Bowl years. They've won the division 4 straight seasons. They've been in the playoffs 5 straight seasons. There's a culture with this football organization right now, and Jason Light and some of the draft picks he's gotten, and they're just ahead of the Atlanta Falcons right now. I just think they won that game because in those situations that some teams would crack or panic, they did not. They had every expectation of going down there scoring. Now, I got a little crazy, and it could have gone to overtime except for a missed field goal, and that's because the Bucs missed a couple of kicks as well. But I just feel like, they're a mature bunch of guys that have been through some stuff, and the young guys they've added are really, really good players like Emeka Buka, that's able to help step in and help them right away. So it's a nice mixture. I think Bowles and there's not many coaches like this. I've said this before in this podcast. I think you have guys in the NFL that are culture guys, great building culture, right? They're the head coaches. There's kind of CEO guy. Then you have guys that are just great with X's and O's. Just a great play. Mike, the Kyle Shanahan's, for example, maybe Kevin O'Connell, and maybe I'm
Sean
sliding them a
McVay,
little
those
bit
people.
because every now and then you have somebody that does both, like Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a great play caller and a culture guy, right? And I think Bowles is that. I think Bowles, because he calls the defense, has done a good enough job on that side of the ball. And I think him and Jason Light, I think they built I guess what you'd call a winning program, Tommy. They've got the right guys in there that are selfless and great, really good players, but good people. And, winning begets winning. And that's kind of where they're at right now. So it's a different building than me and you were in together the last time we were together at games with like Dirk Cutter and Jameis Winston and all that stuff that seemed to change every year.
I'm so glad you mentioned Todd Bowles because I was going to bring him up as you were talking about Baker and you were talking about the winning culture in
Yeah,
Tampa Bay. I didn't cover Todd Bowles at all,
right.
but I can tell you I was just thinking about him the other day about how, and you just mentioned how calm this team is in big situations. That
Yeah,
goes back to coaching. And I don't think
yeah.
Todd Bowles is a perfect coach. I complain about
No, he's got holes.
his
Sure.
clock management.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think he's a perfect coach. But when you talk about culture, Rick, I understand when you're winning, things are a little bit easier. But there are plenty of teams around the league that win and have chaos at times
Mm-hmm.
with their.
Oh yeah.
And I'm telling you right now, Rick, we could talk about how great this organization is in terms of how high character players, and I firmly believe that. And guys like Levante David and Vita Vea, set the bar pretty high as far as how people
Mm-hmm.
act like professionals and all that. Look, there's 53 guys in that room or
Yeah.
more than that, really,
Yeah.
practice squad. There's some bitching and moaning going on in there. I guarantee
Sure
you,
there is. Oh yeah.
because guys want to play and not
That's
everybody
right.
gets to play,
Yeah.
or guys aren't happy with their situations, or
Mm-hmm.
may not be happy with their contracts, whatever the case. And yet you never hear about that stuff. And I think they do a pretty good job of like keeping their eye on the prize, which is football. I have a ton of respect for what Todd Bowles has done, and just watching how the team reacted to him after the game the
Yeah,
other
it's
day in
it's an
Atlanta.
interesting. It's when we talked about people are always not emotional enough, or it really just comes down to whether you win or not. And I try to tell people that we are literally in the golden age of Buck football right now. Like if you just take from the time that Bruce Arians came in until now, including the Tom Brady years, obviously, the 5 straight playoff appearances, the 4 NFC South titles. Yeah, it's never been this good from a consistent level. Tony Dungy went to the playoffs 4 out of 6 years. John came in, won the Super Bowl. Then they were pretty much that was it. Couple championships after that, but no sustainability. And I think right now, to go from a Tom Brady to a Baker Mayfield, I mean, those are great opposite ends of the spectrum, obviously, in many many ways. But Bucks fans have to understand that like this is not what their franchise has been about for so many years. We're in the 50th anniversary of this team, Tom. I don't know if you've heard that or not. It's everywhere. We did a book about it, as a matter of fact.
I heard.
But like in the 50 years, as I went back and looked at the eras, there's a way more bad than there is good, and that I mean way more bad
Well, remember too, Rick, there was that long stretch there where a different team won the NFC South every
every
year,
year. Yeah.
and now they've won what, 4 in a row.
4 in a row, yeah, and the record is 4. New Orleans had a run of 4 in a row at one point, I believe, 3 or 4.
And this
Anyway,
isn't like a team that's just bare. I know you want to talk about my Steelers at some point.
oh yeah,
This isn't a team that does no damage once they get to the playoffs. They're scared. They win games in the playoffs too.
they have, yeah,
I mean,
they
even
definitely have.
even a couple of years ago when they went to Detroit, they came close to winning that game in Detroit. And all of a sudden, they're
Fourth
in the
quarter,
NFC
yeah,
Championship game.
2 minute drive away, yeah,
Yeah, so
could have been in the
um,
championship, and
it's
I think they see themselves as a championship NFC championship type team this year.
Rick, I'm telling you, if I were in the AFC, I'd be a little worried. I don't know that I would put the Bucks in the same category as Buffalo, for instance.
I don't think they're where Buffalo is.
But who is?
I don't. I don't know that they're even necessarily. And this was an amazing game the other night where the Ravens could be. Although I don't know how they could give up 41 when they scored 40. There are some. Kansas City may come down to earth just because I think that division's gotten better. Look at the coaching in that division; it's ridiculous. You start, giving Patrick Mahomes and guys huge money, you're going to lose some players as they have. But yeah, in the NFC, I mean, it's Philadelphia, right? It's the defending champions. It's Washington, kind of the upstarts, and San Francisco seems beat up right now, but it's not that many teams.
Green Bay's pretty good, but I think
Green Bay's really good, and I think getting
Detroit's
Parsons is going to help them.
Back just
I think they will. Lost both coordinators. I think that's going to show, and showed up less this past week. The Rams.
I'd be a little afraid if I had to go into playoffs, if I had to go into Philly and try to win a game, assuming everybody's healthy, I'd be a little nervous about that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Here, I'll say this though, Rick. I am not fearful if I'm the Bucs of Baker Mayfield lead my offense in any stadium in the country.
No, they score
any
points.
Time of year.
Yeah, they score. They definitely do.
And that's the key in the NFL. If you can keep up with some teams offensively,
yep,
you have a chance. There's a lot to like about this team, and they're going to get healthier. Obviously, Tristan Wirfs going to come back at some point. Chris Godwin's going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
It's
just gotta hope.
Exciting.
They got to hope that they can stay healthy, because they don't. When you start out the season, you're down, and Bowles shuffling the offensive line was genius, and they have guys that can do different things. So that's been fun. You mentioned points. I didn't expect this. I didn't see this, and I was up there. How about your boy, Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron,
as you know him, hanging a little bit of, 4 tutties in his first outing against the New York Jets. Is that right?
Yeah. There was no way. I'm sure either team, if they thought, if I score this many points, we're easily going to win this game.
Right.
And it took a 60-yard field goal from Chris Bosworth or Boswell to win that game.
Crazy.
And at the other side, the Jets, I'm sure, just kicking themselves for how that. I don't know. I don't know if both offenses were really good. Justin Fields suddenly found
he played really well. He played really well.
Both defenses are really bad. I'd say the Steelers' defense that was
surprising,
happen,
right?
Man.
Yeah.
And I know there was some moaning up in Pittsburgh. Cam Hayward was holding out. He wanted a new deal. Yep. Everybody said, yeah, okay, this team's built around defense. But when they get in a big game in the playoffs, they can't keep up offensively. And yet they also they can't stop anybody in the playoffs.
And I think
usually they run into like Kansas City or somebody like that.
Yeah, I think the problem is in football with the salary cap is allocation. And when you put that many resources on, and Pittsburgh is one of the few teams that does this, to put them all on defense like that, man, it's really hard to get something going on the other side of the ball. I mean, their biggest stars are on defense, and this isn't the Steel Curtain days, because I don't know what those guys would have made, but you're paying so much money that almost at the neglect of the offense. And so, you're able to get an Aaron Rodgers for 14 or 15 million because he's literally on his last gasp in his career. But, could this work? Like, I thought and I've seen some plays and highlights, and I did see him up there when I was up there for the preseason. Rodgers is moving better now than I've seen him in years. And, he threw one ball with both feet off the ground the other day. Like
I tell you what, he can throw it. He can sling it, man. And
he's got the prettiest release and quickest and most accurate release you'll ever see. But with Mike Tomlin, who is the bigger personality in Pittsburgh, to not have to put up with the dysfunctionality of a Jets organization, right, that can't get out of their own way. I mean, stability does have its reward sometimes, whether you like Mike Tomlin or not. That franchise has been stable for some time, and it'll be stable after Aaron Rodgers is done playing this year. But I don't know, man. I give him a puncher's chance. I mean, hell, if you're going to play like that every week, Raj, then what was it that the Steelers haven't had, which is offense? Points.
Right. Yeah. If you mentioned a minute ago that they put all their money in the defense, which is the wrong side of the ball. Put your money in it.
Can be.
NFL.
Yeah.
You have to score. I still ultimately, Rick, see this team as very similar to at least the end result being similar to what we've seen in recent years. That I think they're a 9 or 10 win team.
Yeah.
I think they get into playoffs, and I don't think they go very far once they get there. And
Wow.
I don't know.
Haven't heard
Let's
that
see if
before.
Rodgers can stay. He got sacked 4 times the other day, but yeah, you're right. He did move. He did move well. Arthur Smith, the offensive coordinator, seems like he and Aaron Rodgers are on the same.
They're going to protect him with the run game because
Yes,
Arthur knows how
exactly.
to run the football, and I think I think Aaron appreciates the fact that he shouldn't find himself in many 3rd and 13s. That they should get positive yards on 1st or 2nd down just running the football. So if you can keep him on schedule, he's just like most quarterbacks, he's just ridiculously dangerous. But
Right.
yeah, there was some it was a pretty good week 1. I think week 1 is a liar, though, Tom. Like, there's a
Oh,
team
yeah.
that won this past week that's going to be absolute terrible this season. And then there's also a team that lost that's probably going to come back and be, a playoff football team. So,
Well, it'll be interesting. Like Kansas City's got to play Philadelphia
yeah.
this week coming up.
Mm-hmm.
That won't be an easy game.
No. Mm-mm.
And then we'll see. The Bucs go into Houston. I can't tell about Houston.
Monday night, hard to say. Houston has a really good defense. They've got some really good edge rushers, that even better certainly than what Atlanta got. And yet they lost, but they lost to the Rams, and they didn't. They only scored 9 points. It was 14-9. But do you say, wow, Houston's defense is really good? They held the Rams to just 14, or is it, boy, that that Texans offense is nothing to write home about. You're going to run right through them. So I don't know what to believe. I just know that going on the road in prime time under Bowles, the Bucs have not done well on prime time. They've done even worse prime time on the road. So I'm not incredibly optimistic for them, but it's remarkable. They've gotten off to good starts the last 2 years with Baker, 3-1 each year, and then they hit the swoon. Should be fun. I'm going Monday night and coming back Monday night.
Well, Houston. So who can we make mad? I guess anybody who's from Houston. Not one of my favorite trips in the NFL. I got to tell you.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't mine either. I really haven't done much. I think maybe stayed at a couple hotels by some shopping malls, maybe ate at a steak place, some chain somewhere once or twice. I really don't know. But I've done a Super Bowl there, which was interesting. Yeah, I probably know Dallas a little bit better than I do Houston.
I think Texas is weird, man. Can I just say that? Like, it's a weird
no, you
state.
can't say
Yeah,
that Texas is weird.
Yeah, I think
There's people from Texas that listen to this podcast. What are you calling my listeners weird?
I have. I just
got
think
exes
it's
in Texas.
It's yeah. There you go. I don't know. Dallas Fort Worth. I've been to a bunch. I've only been to Houston once, and I'm sure. It's like all these cities we go to, Rick, when we're sports writers, is that we stay downtown. Usually, we stay we don't get out to where like the locals go. That's like if you came to Tampa and all you did was stay on Del Mabry somewhere or stay downtown and just go to the stadium and never explored the beaches or never went to Channel Side or whatever
or the clubs on Del Mabry.
Tampa's that's not a great trip. But I don't know. I always thought I remember like maybe it was just the paper at the time. Remember back in the day, the Dallas Morning News was and it still is, but back in the day they had an elite sports section.
Oh my God, they covered everything, and I mean worldwide. They covered everything.
Yeah,
they had a guy who just did the Olympics.
Yeah, their staff
and they were only 4 years every 4 years.
60 people. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I remember I got a call. This was 1999, so a long time ago. I was covering the Lightning for the Tampa Bay Times, then the St. Petersburg Times, and I got a call from the Dallas Morning News, and they're like, "Hey, they had an NHL writer who covered the Stars, the Dallas Stars, but they also had an NHL columnist, which was like, wait a minute, you get to be a columnist? Like you just covered the NHL?
All you cover is the NHL, yeah."
And so they had an opening, and they called and they said, "Would you be interested in our NHL columnist beat?" And I was like, "Absolutely." And so they brought me out for an interview, and there were 3. I found out I was one of 3 being interviewed. The other one was a sports writer that we all, Cammie Clark, who was longtime Tampa Bay. She was the original Tampa Bay Lightning beat writer for the St. Petersburg Times, and she had moved on to the Orange County Register at that point. And so they reached out to her. I don't even know if she was that interested in that job, but they reached out to her. And then somebody else, I don't know who the third person was. So I go out there, I interview, and I just thought, this place is weird, man. Like and it was the paper. I thought it was, I don't know. It was again, this incredible talent all over the place. And I remember I had to interview with like 5 people. And one of them was Dave Smith, who was a legendary sports editor, long time, like one of the great sports editors in the history of sport. And I remember going to lunch with him and like 3 other people, and I'm not sure he ever looked at me. Like, this is my interview with him. He never really looked at me. He was just he talked to everybody else, and he asked me a couple of questions, but he was more interested.
You left with
in,
a
like,
lot of
what do we have
confidence
for
and
lunch?
started looking for real estate in Philly, right?
I guess. So I go through the interviews. I thought they went well. And I go back and I think, I'm like, they're going to offer me this job. And I'm going to have to decide, do I take it, even though I think Dallas is not a place I'd want to live? I just didn't vibe with it. It's a great place.
Great sports
actually
town.
Like Fort Worth.
Obviously,
Yeah, unbelievable sports town. And a great paper.
Yeah.
But it just felt weird. It almost felt like when I was walking around, I'm like, is this like, are these human? Are these robots? It's like Stepford Wifey a little bit. Like, it was just, I just had a weird vibe. And so, but I'm like, oh, what am I going to do? Well, I didn't have to make that decision. They called like 2 days after I got back to St. Pete, and they said, hey, thanks a lot. We really appreciate you coming out. But we're not going to offer you the job. And I said, okay, well, I was disappointed. But I was relieved at the same time. And I said, I appreciate it. And I said, can I ask who did you hire? And they're like, yeah, we didn't like any 3 of you, the 3 of you. We're opening up the search again. And at that point, then I was pissed. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
No, I wanted the job.
I lost to 2 guys who also lost.
I didn't want the job 5 minutes ago. Now I want it.
Sure.
Now I'm mad.
What's wrong with me?
Yeah. And so then it turned out like a few months later, I got a call from the Minneapolis Star Tribune, said, hey, we're looking for a hockey writer cover the Minnesota Wild. So I get that job, go to Minneapolis. And then while I'm there, the person who was hired to be the Dallas Morning News NHL writer left. They hired somebody.
Oh, that was your shot left to go back.
So they called me up and they're like, hey, did you hear we have an opening for an NHL columnist? And I'm like, are you kidding me? They're like, just to be clear, you're not a candidate.
Oh, wow.
But we want to get your opinion on, and they named a guy.
Oh, click, babe.
And I said, no, that guy's great. Yeah, he'd be really good. And they
literally called you up to ask for a reference?
They called me up and said, we have an opening. You're not considered, but what do you think about this guy? And I like,
you're so bad.
Yeah.
That no matter how many openings we have, you will never, ever be
I felt like saying, like, hey, if this guy says no, would I still be?
What about the next one?
Nope.
Okay,
nope.
20 positions from now. Were you going to call me?
I was never going to. I was USF, man. I was getting left over and left out of the poll. I was not even also getting votes, like nothing. Yeah. So
you know why? Because them people from Texas can sense a coward. Let me tell you.
They could. They looked at him and they're like, he thinks we're weird. He's weird.
Exactly.
He's the problem. So, did you ever have anything like that? Like a bizarre work?
Where I got turned down for jobs? Sure, lots of them.
I just thought it was like, anyway.
Pretty much everyone I tried for, except a couple that I should have probably maybe reconsidered and said yes to, but I did not.
It was just like I said, anyway, going back to Houston, not my favorite trip. I don't know why. I'm sure it's a great town, but just never.
I did a Super Bowl there. I've spent a little time there before, but any city that has 2 airports is a little intimidating to me.
Yeah, right.
Even if it's one is a small airport, but it doesn't matter. You've got 2 airports. It's a lot. And
Los Angeles, Chicago.
George Bush especially is a big airport. I don't know if you've been to to Bush. So my George Bush story was I had the only knee surgery I've ever had, and really the only surgery period other than my appendix bursting was it didn't burst, but I had to have it out.
Yeah.
Was one year, I was out on a boat with my, buddy that I ran with forever, Bill Bond. We were out fishing in way too deep of water. And I remember this because there was, years later, a bunch of players, USF players and some Bucks players died out there trying to do the same thing. So we're in the heavy swells and we got to pull up the anchor, you know what I mean? And it's kind of stuck down there on the rocks, which is never a good feeling. But at any rate, I went up to the top of the boat and on the bow, and he was driving it. And I went to pull up the anchor, and I heard pow, just like that, and I could feel it was my knee, like that's where it came from. Now, it wasn't an instant pain, but when I tell you I froze, I did not move or breathe or anything for a good 25 seconds.
Ugh.
You know, like I just thought that the next thing I do is going to be so excruciatingly painful. I don't want to move. I was just stuck there.
Right.
And so I tore my meniscus trying to pull up the anchor, and my left one. And so kind of dragged it around, like a dog with a bad leg, and finally said I better go see somebody. And he's like, "Yep, yeah, torn meniscus, you gotta have surgery." Okay. And so I'm getting to the point here. So I go and have knee surgery, which was cool, and surgeons were great, and everything worked out fine. But like the next weekend, surgery was probably like on a Monday or Tuesday. I said, "Hey, am I able to travel to Houston to cover a game?" He goes, "Well, what do you do?" I go, "Well, I land at the airport. I walk, get a shuttle to the hotel, shuttle to the game, another shuttle back to the hotel or the airport, and I'm back home." He goes, "Well, if that's all you do, sure, you'll be fine. Except that when you get to Houston's airport, George Bush Airport, you realize that you're going to walk about 10 and a half miles, okay, from your gate to wherever you're going. It doesn't matter where you're going to get the baggage claim, to get the transportation. It's about 10 miles. So I proceed very slowly, cautiously, pulling a bag to walk through George Bush Airport. And buddy, I made it to my room, put some ice on the knee, all of that. But when I got back from Houston, my knee was the size of both of them melded
Size of
together.
Texas.
Size of Texas. There you go. And I had to go get the proverbial, and I have new appreciation for players since then. Had to go get the proverbial. Yeah, we're gonna have to drain that knee. Okay, you drain my knee. Okay, so you're like, what? Stick a needle? Yeah, Hey, bring those nurses in here. I was like, wait a minute, what are they doing? When you have a nurse on each shoulder holding you down, you're about to get hurt, right? And you're about to get hurt bad because you're just not going to like this. And so, big needle, stick it right into the infected.
They give you anything?
Very little. I think like a cold spray. It was like as an English soccer player or something. I ran out there and sprayed the area, right? And then the needle went in. But the worst part is we're used to getting shots. All of us get shots, right? We've had plenty of shots. And the needle.
Not anymore. We're not. But
well, no, that's true. But it hurts for a minute and then it doesn't, right?
Right.
This sucker felt like it was about 12 inches long. It's probably about half that. Went into my knee, and he had a syringe like thing, and he started to pull it back, right? And the problem is your first reaction is to lean up and pull that thing out of your knee. It's like something stuck in my knee. But as he's pulling back into the tube, you see the fluid coming out, and the nurses are trying to pin me down and all that. Took a few minutes, and he's massaging the knee. He got 50 cc's of fluid out of that knee. Like it was incredibly how swollen it was. But that's what I remember about Houston. And so
there you go. See,
anytime I go to Houston, I'm like, I don't want to walk through the airport. My knee blew up. It's the longest airport I've ever been to. I don't know why.
Not to turn this into a much more longer story. Did you get sick at a Super Bowl once?
Yeah, it wasn't. I was supposed to go to the Rose Bowl. This was back in the days, University of Florida. If you recall, Emmitt Smith I actually broke a story that Emmitt Smith was going to leave Florida after his junior year and enter the draft. And Florida was not happy about that. In fact, one of the local kids that I knew that I covered in high school told me the story. He went into the locker room and told his teammates and everything, wrote the story. They hated it. So Emmitt Smith's going to play his last game. And it turns out for Florida that it's in the Freedom Bowl in Los Angeles. And it was at the old Angels Stadium, And so I can't remember who they were playing. It wasn't anybody great, Illinois or somebody. Anyway, went to the Freedom Bowl, and I'm there with a columnist, friend of ours, Gary Sheldon. And the morning of the game, the day of the game, we got a little bit of a bus ride out there to the stadium or whatnot, and I'm running a fever. And when I say a fever, I mean like I'm already like 103 and climbing, right? But I'm out there and I'm supposed to do the Rose Bowls the next day. Like, this is an honor to be able to go to Pasadena and do the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
We didn't send people out there, but because I was there, it was like, well, why don't you pick up the Rose Bowl on the way home? And so I'm pumped for it, man. And it dropped off and all of that. And buddy, I don't think I've ever been more sick. You know, I think most of the game my head was on the desk in front of me, and when the game was over, I didn't go down to the locker room. Some people brought some quotes back to me. I wrote my story. We got a ride back to the hotel, and Gary Shelton was leaving that night to go from L.A. back to Tampa. He wasn't going to cover the Rose Bowl, and I was supposed to. And he just happened to say, "Look, if you want to come with me, I'm leaving right now. This is after the game." And I got up enough strength to go to the airport. And long story short, got back home. But yeah, that trip, when you get sick on the road and you're that far away and there's no doctor to see, there's no antibiotics you can get, there's nothing like it. I just remember laying there thinking, I'm going to die in a hotel room in Los Angeles, man. And there's no one that can help me. But fortunately, Gary did, and we got back, and it was a long plane ride. That's a long plane ride anyway. It's longer still when you get about 103 fever.
There's nothing where I'll tell it real quick. I was working for the Tampa Tribune, and I covered the Lightning, and they had a back then a neutral site. They used to play neutral site games twice a year.
Oh,
and
wow!
They played in Hamilton, Ontario, and
Jeez.
I was good. And we actually drove from Toronto. Cammy Clark was working for Tampa Bay Times. We actually rented a car together.
Wow!
And drove, and she had to drive back. I was so sick coming back to Toronto.
Wow!
And I was supposed to go from Toronto to Detroit because there was a playoff game the next week. And that's back in the days when we covered playoff game. Like,
oh yeah, we did
every playoff game,
all of them. Yeah,
yeah. And so I was going to cover. I think it was Detroit, Green Bay. The game was in Detroit and somebody.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, that week was the United States figure skating trials.
Is this the Nancy Kerrigan year?
Well, that's I mean, I went.
Did you get gululied?
I was supposed to go and write a feature, a couple of features, and I called my boss, the late Paul C. Smith, great sports editor at the Tampa Tribune, and I told him, I said, I feel awful. He goes, you need to come home. And it turned out I had like pneumonia, but he says, you need to come home.
Oh,
and
wow.
I said, yeah, but he goes, what are you doing? I said, I'm supposed to go cover the playoff game. He goes, we can.
It doesn't matter. We'll do without it. Yeah,
Detroit,
they do without the Rose Bowl. My coverage was not missed.
Well, so I said, what about the? I said, I'm supposed to go to U.S. figure skating. They're like, what are you going to do there? I go, I'm just bringing features back as Olympic previews. I said, I'm supposed to talk to Brian Boitano on Tuesday.
There you go.
And then on Wednesday, I was just supposed to grab Nancy Kerrigan after practice.
And when you say grabbed, you didn't mean like
grab. So it's actually, I believe it was me and Lori. I think her name was Lori Shantz. She worked at the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. We had set it up that we were going to talk to Nancy Kerrigan after practice on one of the weekdays, and that was the day that.
Wow!
I would have been there, right there. Everybody says, well, you could have stopped it. I'm like, no, I wouldn't have.
I'm not kidding.
I'm not getting
between a man and his lead pipe. Man.
No,
get that.
Sorry,
she's over here.
Covered it. Yeah,
well, I'll hold the skate.
She's laying down. She's over here, guys. I think it was that guy, but maybe not. I don't know.
Weirdest story in the world, man. Weirdest story in the world to this day.
So
could not believe it. Talk about your rivalries in sports, right?
Oh yeah, no, one of the more bizarre stories of all time.
Yeah,
but anyway, enjoy Houston. Should be fun.
Yeah, it'll be okay. It's a Monday night game, but there's a couple of them that night, and they play at 7, so that'll get us out of there a little sooner. Still, that 6 a.m. flight will come really fast, and I'm flying out the day of the game. So yeah, about 22.5-hour day.
And then who they have went the following week?
Following week is the home opener in the throwbacks. I don't know if you like the white throwback uniforms. They're going to wear Bucko Bruce and all that. Is against the Jets. The New York Jets. And then the week after, exactly, the New York Football Jets. And the week after that, the Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles right here at Raymond James Stadium. That'll be a huge one.
I saw a clip the other day. I don't even know what I think it was. These like all of a sudden a video will pop up on your Facebook Reels or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And it was the Joe Jaravicious catch in Philly.
I saw it the other day. I did.
Yeah.
Tips it to himself over the DB's head.
You and I were next to each other.
Incredible.
And at the link, the first game at the link.
They shut down the vent. They opened the link.
Defending champs.
Yeah.
Win that game.
never going to happen again. And I don't think you'll ever see a Super Bowl team go on the road. But they win that game, and John Madden is calling that game. And I can remember succinctly because, they shut down the vet. They opened the link. They shut it down. Didn't allow any points. Jervis is tipping the ball to himself, 17-0. And Madden is going on and on about, here's a team here, 3 Super Bowls. He's just getting all excited. It's like, okay, yeah, I see that. And then the next week, there were 2 cataclysmic games that season. The one was the next week against Carolina, where Martin Gramatica had not 1, not 2, but 3 field goals blocked in the singular game, including, and get this, they're trailing the Carolina Panthers 9-6, or no, I'm sorry, 9-6, okay, and they're driving. They get down there, and Brad Johnson throws a touchdown pass to Keenan McCardell, except there's a penalty. No, wait, let me see this right. He threw it to Keyshawn, who dropped it. Then on the next play, he threw it to Keenan, who caught it. So now it's 9-9. Extra point wins the game. And this is when extra points were chip shots, right? They weren't back at the 30. So it's like, this game is over, and they're going to be 2-0 and all of that. And I swear to you, I think it was Julius Peppers, but somebody blocks the extra point. And it was unbelievable. It was like the 3rd block of the game. They end up losing that game. Then they win a game, and then that cataclysmic comeback by the Indianapolis Colts when they were down, I don't know, like 20-something points with 3.5 minutes to go, came back and won that game.
Monday night game, right?
Yeah, biggest Monday night comeback in the history of Monday Night Football. So, yeah, I mean, it was just that season was crazy. And Jurevicius and Allstott hit each other, and Joe was out for a while, and Mike, banged his head and ended up with neck surgery. Like, everything kind of fell apart, that shortly after that. But yeah, that Philadelphia game, man, you couldn't have told me that they weren't going to go back to back and win a Super Bowl. Couldn't have told me that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, those are good times. It's not like being on the road now, though. It's a little harder. Not as much esprit de corps, fewer people traveling, and all of that. But we certainly killed it when we could. No doubt about it. The Rays are done. Agree? They're done?
Yeah, they're done.
Yeah, stick a fork in them. What could they do if they got there, right? Could they win any games? I don't know that they win a series.
I don't know. I just want to fast forward now to find out, like, where's the stadium going to be? What's the new owner going to be like?
You know where I think it's going to be now? The latest I both read and heard this, where HCC is across from Raymond James. Yeah. Very preferred site by the new owners.
Yeah, it's not a preferred site for me.
What do you care? You
because go to I don't live in Hillsborough County. I don't.
You want to keep it in St. Pete? Yeah, I get you.
I'm like everybody. I want it 10 minutes from my house.
I want it in my backyard,
which is what the Trop is. 10 minutes from my house.
That's true. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, that's where I want it. I want it next to the Trop, or on the side of the Trop, or somewhere near the Trop.
Well, I guess they got to repair the damn thing, so they're gonna have to play there another 2-3 years, even if they put a stake in the ground now.
Yeah, no. So I'll be looking forward to going back to the Trop.
Yeah. Well, that'll be hella fun, as they say. All right. Well, listen, we could do this forever, but we have done it forever. Back-to-back nights. They can follow you, of course, at pointer.org. You got all the media coverage of what has just been a silly season of politics and everything else going on around here. But you're welcome to come on. Thanks for coming on the other night to talk about the USF voter on the AP poll that did not include USF. That was fun. So anytime, buddy, call me
Thanks,
up. You're
man.
on.
I appreciate it. Enjoy Houston.
Absolutely. We'll talk down the road, man. Thanks.
See ya.
Man, I hope he gets more fired up and just keeps calling in, to have him back-to-back. Tom Jones, that was terrific, and glad that he was able to join us. Hey, today the Rays wrapping up their series this afternoon, actually, against the Chicago White Sox. The Bucs returning to practice to begin preparations for their Monday night football game at Houston against the Texans. That one's going to be good. The early game, I believe they kick it off around 7 or so, but regardless, you're going to have to watch that one. Bucs trying to go 2-0 on the season while Houston is 0-1, but should be a great event. Thanks again, as always, for listening. Get on down to Breitling Boutique. Go check out the beautiful watches they have, men's and women's watches as well, and let them know you heard about it on Sports Day Tampa Bay. For Steve Versnick, I am Rick Stroud of the Tampa Bay Times. Have a great day, everybody.